Good morning, everyone. I'm Lamont Gilchrist. www.L.G.Fitness-Messiah.com is my web page. Today is the 22nd. And I just kind of wanted to do a informative video. This is a format that I'm trying on my trip back down here while I'm doing my research, doing some other things to get some different certifications, collaborating with some other professionals down here. So, below on this video, there's two links, documentary about the Irish and in Europe and other countries, what processed food has done since they started bringing in processed food in the 1980s, the adding of high fructose corn syrup and the health problems and how fast the health problems and health risks and diabetes and congestive heart failure has increased to the way that their foods are being produced is down below. Make sure you take a look at that. You can follow me. I thought I'd give a little bit more information about how I come to my conclusions and my content or the things that I speak about. I research these things. I do countless hours of research, but I enjoy doing research about things. I research archaeology, I research religion, I research nutrition, I research law. Those are the things that interest me. Those are the things that I do extensive research. I follow kind of the patterns that I've learned in college. I've expanded the way that I research. I cross-reference, I use books, videos, and as more information is available from using the World Wide Web, ebooks, and all the other reference points that I can get to, I do mass amount of research. So I thought I'll share some of my research or some of the things that I use when I come up with these hypotheses. Now you have to understand, I have an understanding that even though I look at something and they explain something from their perspective, because that's all anyone can do, I have a perspective or understanding that is from my perspective. So I take my scholarship and ponder with my wisdom, my experience, all the other things. I put everything into play when I look at these things. So, for instance, the Irish, if you look when they came over into the United States, they were treated like secondhand citizens. They were treated kind of like, not as bad, I don't know. I mean, in their perspective, they probably feel it was bad, as blacks were treated, not as far as slavery or natives or the indigenous people of this land was treated. They were treated as a separate, kind of like race. And it's always kind of been the tale over in Europe and these countries that different parts of society, although they're all Caucasian, treat different, Germany or say France or say England, they all treat each other a little bit different. That's when I'm kind of skipping the subject, but that's what I wanted to say, about blaming things when you don't have solutions. Really, to be honest, you can't say how good or how bad a situation would be. You could always say in retrospect what it is that you have witnessed, how slavery or any other bad situation. But us as human beings, it's very much inside of us individually that, from my perspective, that if you got a lot of hate or a lot of strife or jealousy or things inside you, it doesn't make a difference if you eliminate all the people you think that is causing your problems. Once they are eliminated, you'll start looking at each other. Then you'll start picking the green-eyed ones from the blue-eyed ones, from the people with sandy brown to the people with gold to people with black hair. You would basically nitpick down until only people that envision or was part of your vision of what you think is good would be here on the earth. Everyone else would be eliminated. So be very cautious of making these big assumptions that because of the way situations are, that they can always get better, because it is predicated on what they do individual, and this does go to my research and the way that I research. So it is predicated on how they view other individuals as far as like not being human, how they view the Irish, how they view the German after World War II, after Nazi Germany, and so Japan and all these other things. So it is very, very let's see what the word I'm trying to use. It is very strategic. So there may not be a big problem because there are other people that you think are so bad, but once you eliminate those people, you will start turning on yourself if you have that type of spirit. So be conscious of that. So don't always be so critical to judge and put down and to destroy, and to think that destroying is going to make a better situation, especially when you've been spending all your time working on or being mad and angered and trying to destroy the problem without ever considering a true solution other than destruction. And that's the same way. That's how. So that's why, with knowing that knowledge, I'm able to look at research. And so research that's not meant for certain sectors of society, I can see how they were treated like other sectors in society. And then I can see the level of disrespect or the level of dehumanization that was done to them. And so it will fit into other categories. And so then I can make hypotheses or assumptions or educated guess to how they may be doing inner cities, because this is how they did the Irish. This is what they did when they came over and working on. So I'll cross-reference a lot of different things other than nutrition, because it brings me to a complete and intellectual, insightful conclusion with wisdom. So then you can see the real effects, and so you can see if it's race-based, if it's something that is ethics or socioeconomically based. So you can take a lot of different perspectives. And though we are all different individuals and different human beings, and we have different molecules and we have different macro and micro needs for our ethnicity, for the regions that we live in, for us individually, there's no cookie cutter one process that fits everybody, but it allows me to make a general assumptions about how the masses are treated. Not saying that the masses are all the same, but they can be treated the same, and you will get generally almost the same response as far as like health, the sicknesses, the development of sicknesses, cognitive skills. And let me get to the point that I wanted to make. And so that's how I do my research, just to give you an insight. So when you hear me speaking and talking about things, that's how in depth I go when I do my research on these issues and everything else. That's how I look at things. That's how I look at life. All my friends and everyone always tell me that I'm so critical as far as my thinking. I think so in depth, and I'm so tedious in my thought process, and I have to be, because to be unaware is basically to be not relevant. So this brings me to my point. So in the documentary, it's talking about how sugar is doing things and how it's destroying. So you teach and I get this with religious people, and I get this with people who come to me in my professional manner and start to talk to me about getting in shape or exercising or eating. They come to me with the solution, or they come to me with a format that they have been using that they say is not that bad, or I eat healthy, or I eat whatever. And I say, what is health? What is eating healthy? What is, what are you trying to do? Or people say, well, how much you charge for this? And I say, what are you trying to do? There's no cookie cutter specific thing that each individual can have that would be perfect health for the masses. Now you can have some general things, because if you know science and medicine and how organs and how the body respond and react to certain things, and you follow the research, you can say in general these things will happen. So we can look at these symptoms and come to a conclusion that these are the things that you've done. This is causing the problem. So let's eliminate this. So in theory, we can change a lot of stuff and make it so that your body can be in more of a harmonious state. That's what I try to do with my reset meal plan, with other things, just depending on, then you have to take into consideration, are you vegan, are you vegetarian, eating habits, how you view foods, and so there's a whole bunch of other different things that go on. So I do try to do medically and get the responses that I need from certain foods to respond that way, or supplements, however, whatever route we decide to take. But people come to me and they're always defensive. It's bad, especially for me as a professional. It's almost as bad as like talking politics or religion. People get so ingrained and so entwined in their belief and want to defend their belief. They're defending their culture. They're defending their heritage, especially black people. And I'm black, so I'll speak about black people because we speak candidly to each other. They defend the way that they eat, the way that their grandmother prepared stuff, the way that you were taught that. And in a lot of situations, they don't look at the real data, is that a lot of times you weren't given an opportunity to know what health was or eat healthy. But you did not eat that way. Your indigenous people did not eat that particular way. They didn't take 30 grains of sugar and all that because we didn't have that. Sugar is something that your body will naturally convert and make itself. Your body will turn itself into sugar to be energy, glucose or glycogen. So you don't never have to supplement with that. So that is not true. And your system has evolved so that just like you don't need your appendix, that is an organ that over the time of evolution that has become somewhat obsolete. So that's why people can get their appendix taken out. Some organs will do that. And your kidneys is one of them that you really don't need that much. You do need some of it, some function of it, but you can live with one of them. That's why you can donate one, because our body has evolved over evolution to be able to make its own sugar and metabolize it, so you don't need insulin and all that other stuff. So these are things that you need. These are desires and things that you want. They are not physiologically needed. So no one really needs to spike their insulin level because you turn yourself into sugar when you don't eat, when you starve. So there's only basic things that your body absorbs and you turn yourself into and it utilizes in the cell as energy. So don't talk to me about these heritage, because these heritage, just like with religion and your politics and stuff, was thrust upon you. You didn't really have a conscious choice in making those decisions. There's policies and lawmakers behind closed doors played with your life and bartered back and forth and give and take. And in most cases, it wasn't even in the interest of your humanity, your health, or your safety. It was always, for the most part, as I do the research and look at it and I trace history back about a lot of things, it was always done in economics, because we are a big corporation, but that's something different. So you have to understand, when they make these recommendations, when they set up these guidelines, when they are doing these particular things, it is not necessarily are they making these bills and these laws. If they wanted you to know, why do they put the food label in small print like they do with your batteries or something when they put a disclaimer on something? It's not to inform. It's so that you cannot sue. It's not because they're trying to protect you from what is in there. They are making it so that you can't say, I didn't know those things were in there. And then you can't read them because they're so small. Then they use scientific words that they change, so that you don't have an understanding about the scientific word, just like how the Bible wasn't translated to certain languages, so the person could tell you what it is or what it's doing, or if it's healthy or if it's not, without you getting your own knowledge or understanding if it is actually healthy or not, or even if it is actually true. But when you go back and you take it and you translate it back from the English or the King James or the 16th century, like the Bible or anything else, and you start looking at the origin of it, it starts to separate. You start to see the inconsistencies in what's being said. And once again, it's just a disclaimer so that you can say, they can say, well, you were warned. You was aware. It has it right here on the label. It's not for your health. It is for the company's benefit so that they can't get sued. That's what their lawyers came up with. And they bartered, or they debated about the standard that they're going to sit and say that's healthy. That doesn't mean that it's healthy, because if it was, then why would it change every 10 to 5 years? It shouldn't change then. I mean, I know the foods changes, but the standards could always be the same. Same like truth. Truth shouldn't change a million times. But that's just some of the insight and how I look at research and the things that I do. And so, because I'm rambling a little bit, to get to my point. Now, as an adult, you make these decisions. But don't get mad at your kids when they don't make honor roll, when they have what people would say ADHD, or getting a little bit overweight, or they're lethargic, or they don't have energy levels. That's what you're putting in their body in the processed foods. That's what's happening. It is a drug. Food is a drug. You are drugging your kids. And then you're getting mad for the result. That's just like giving someone crack, or giving I see people who blow weed into their dogs, and their dogs run and fall out, or giving someone crack or heroin, shooting them up that never did it. And then when they go and do something totally outrageous, then you're like, man, I didn't know that was going to do that. Well, that's what happened when you drug people. That's why people take drugs, because it puts them in an altered state of mind. It releases hormones, it makes different things happen. And that's what you're doing with your kids. So before you start being hard on your kids or hard on people, make sure that you are doing everything that is warranted, that you're making the situation healthy, and that you are actually not being part of the problem that you're perceiving and punishing for it, but being fair and objective, and looking for solutions to solving the problems. You know, we can all complain about the problems, and this is why I do what I do. We can all complain about it, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do about it? You could get mad, you could sit there, you could give up, you could do whatever. Or you can really get into what it is that you do great and make a difference. You can really get into your talents and make a difference. Bring your talents to the table. So my name is Lamont Gilchrist. I hope this information right here helps you and gives you a little bit more insight about what I do and the process that I go through, and stimulates you to get out and do your research. You don't have to trust what anybody says. If you do, you're probably only taking in a small percentage of truth, because it still has to be digested and accepted in your brain as reality. Thanks.